Wilbur Wright was a very influential figure in the history of the U.S., as, with the help of his brother Orville Wright, created the first airplane. The airplane was the basis of the modern transportation system. Even though some argue Wilbur Wright had minimal effect upon the U.S., ultimately he had significant success with the first worldwide creation of the airplane, which the U.S. wouldn't be the same without. In 1878, the inspiration for the airplane was created and seen by the Wright brothers. Wilbur's father brought the brothers a toy helicopter that was able to fly around the room. This particular toy was made by Alphonse Pénaud, who was a French aeronautical engineer. Both brothers attempted to create their own little toy by themselves, showing their potential for future development of aircraft technology. Along with other aircraft enthusiasts' attempts, the interest in airplanes was strong with both Wilbur and Orville. Wilbur, growing up, was planning to go to college, but faced an injury resulting in a depression which led to the downfall of his education. As he failed out of school without even getting a diploma, he didn't attend college. He instead cared for his mom and started a hobby with bikes. His mom died due to tuberculosis about 4 years after his accident. Shortly after their mother's death, the brothers began a bike shop which became very successful. Due to this very successful downtown bike shop, Wilbur was able to work on other projects. So naturally, he turned to aircraft once again in 1896. He began by studying some experiments they had made that would help them understand the key concepts and components that would allow them to make a working prototype of an airplane. The Wright brothers began ramping up their effort in 1899 when Wilbur asked the Smithsonian Institution for information on how other engineers were progressing. Wilbur didn't find much information about any successes, which told him that the information and knowledge they had might be able to help them be one of the first people to create the airplane. After Wilbur began the initial ideas, Orville Wright decided to join him, and using the funds from the successes of their bike business, they began testing. The Wright brothers were the only aeronautical engineers at the time that didn't get outside funding from other sponsors. They worked on their ideas and made different designs that eventually, in December of 1903, they had liftoff. They were able to create an airplane that was able to fly for 12 seconds, which was done for the first time and was a free but controlled flight. Wilbur Wright was later able to fly 59 seconds and over 852 feet on a later experiment. These achievements were crazy at the time, and they were questioned by people of their actual success. As a result of this doubt, Wilbur set out to Europe for a time to have more success with the business part of planes. After receiving lots of support and success in Europe, he moved back to the States and began selling planes to America, which would change the transportation of the U.S. forever. Further development of the original system that was made by Wilbur and Orville Wright, it was used in both civilian ways and governmental ways. In 1914, World War I had begun, and many European countries were ramping up their efforts to make an airplane in order to create a military advantage. When the U.S. entered World War I in 1917, they only had 110 airplanes ready to be used. So the airplane manufacturers and the automobile manufacturers came together to help create 15,000 new airplanes by 1918. This helped revolutionize the industry of war for the U.S. and how future wars could be fought and how new strategies needed to be formed. Another shift began after the war when the U.S. started having passenger planes in 1920. They were able to fly around the U.S. and even to Europe and other distant countries that allowed nations to be closer than ever before. This allowed easier foreign affairs and foreign policies as a result of these international interactions. Wilbur Wright should be recognized in the A-Push Hall of Fame for his work that greatly improved the country. The airplane truly revolutionized our transportation system and the way we are connected with other countries. This innovation can and should be recognized as one of the most important and impactful innovations, shown by its major effects after creation and the mass production of the airplane, showing its necessity in the modern world of the U.S.